yesterday, right? Yes, so we are done up to today's 30th. Okay, so I'm going to teach you today operating system, Windows operating system, fundamental of Windows operating system, and uh, what is the function and how to install an operating system on your computer. Shall we start now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So what we're going to do, what we're going to discuss in this topic, um, modern operating systems. What are the modern Windows operating system, like Windows 7, Windows 8, or 8.1, Windows 10, right? Those are in the queue of modern operating system. So operating system when okay, one thing I would like to tell you as well. Here we are focusing on uh, client side as a high. I think we are doing one course as well, other course as well. So focus on the operating system which is used by a client, independent of any other network connection. For instance, I'll link it to the network later in later topic. So Windows 7, Windows 8.1, or Windows 8, or Windows 10, those are the modern operating systems. So in order to install any of them or one of them, like if you like to install Windows 7 or Windows 10 on your physical machine, so what are the system requirements? You need to know the system requirement. That's very important thing. First, most important thing in order to install any operating system on your machine, not only Windows operating system, any operating system, you first check your operating system requirement. What the operating systems require, resource requirement, like how much processor speed, how much memory required, what is the disk capacity, minimum disk capacity. Those are the three main things you must check it out before you install the operating system on your machine. And then we will overview the function of the operating system and how does the operating system work. Operating system and the hardware works together. You would also be able to explain the process of upgrading an operating system, disk management, and how to create a partition in Windows using disk management utility. And what's the disk management utility is? So those are the topics we're going to discuss, work out um, under this having Windows operating system installation. Okay, so first thing we need to understand how to install Windows. Um, Installation of operating system and custom installation options in the boot sequence in the registry files. So let's go over first with the Marvin operating system. And then we will come to the installation steps, more specifically, one of those operating system. You can pick any one or I'll let help you which one we can work in this course. Uh, what is the basic function of an operating system? Any idea, any thought? Well, everybody is aware of operating system, right? Operating system. And then we have the classes like Windows operating systems in Unix, Linux category, open source, right? And then Apple Macintosh operating system, right? So so those are the like uh, commonly used operating system in different on different machine or can be used on one machine because of the virtualization. So what do you think? Whatever the whoever is the vendor, whether it is coming from the Microsoft or from Apple or from open source, uh, what is the basic function of an operating system? Operating system. What is the basic function? Well, it does tell inside. Its name reveals its functionality, but I want you to give me your thought. What do you think?
It operates everything for the computer.
Manage a
It
computer resource.
okay. So let me write down operates. You said operates everything in computer, right? Operates computer. Okay. All right. What else?
Manage a
It
computer
helps
resource.
computer run processes and manage memory.
Okay, you mean manage computer
All the resources.
resource
Processes and memory. Yeah.
resources, right? This resources. Okay, I'm writing what you guys are telling me. Resources. Okay, good. What else? Manage computer
Ports of
resources. Yes.
Execute and provide services for application software.
Execute,
And provide services for application software.
execute and provide
Services
services
for
for
application software.
for
For application software.
application software. Okay. Anything else? That's it? Uh, yes. Okay, I got some response in chat. Establish user interface. Very good. Control over. Okay. Very good. From who said this? Mahek. Okay. Establish user interface. Mahek, can you send it to all right? Establish user interface. That's very good point. Yes, user interface. And Maintain security access right. Very good. Very good. Security access right. Okay. Our user interface, when we say establish, maintain security. Yeah, that's an operating system which maintains the security. Um, error detection, keep record of system performance. Okay. Okay. Maintain system, right? Maintain system performance. Correct? I can abbreviate it like this. Those are pretty much good thoughts. Yeah. So those are the yes, most of the functions performed by the operating system. So operating system basically has four main roles, right? One is control hardware access. So how does the operating system control hardware? Well, remember operating system, this is your machine and you are sitting here. Well, how can I plot it? Right, so you are sitting here, or me or you are sitting here. So who is the middleman between user and machine? The
Operating
machine,
system.
this is the operating system, right? Because machine don't understand your language and you don't speak machine language. That's the problem, right? So you speak your language which you feel comfortable with, and machine can understand only one language, which is the language of 1 and 0. So who is the middleman who listen you're saying, follow up to the computer, and computer get the instructions, output from computer and give it to you, right? So this operating system is very close to machine, is also close to user, right? So the operating system manages the interaction between application and the hardware. So to access and communicate with the hardware, the operating system, how does it manage hardware access? What do you think? How does it manage hardware? There is a small software in operating system provide a small software which manage control on hardware access. That is the this is what we call device driver, right? Device driver. Well, driver is the person who drive any machine, right? Any machine. Driver means okay, car driver, machine driver, etc., etc. So it means that is the person who drives certain device, right? He knows how to drive that device. So device driver is not a kind of gentleman, but is a software, and is a part of operating system, right? It's a spatial software which directly communicate with hardware and drive that hardware. For what hardware? For instance, your VGA card, your audio machine, your audio device, right? Keyboard, monitor, any additional accessories you have installed, any additional hardware, monitor, etc., etc., network card, or any other additional hardware you have installed, it comes up with their device driver. Earlier, we have to install the device driver separately. We used a CD drive or DVD drive, which comes up with that particular device, and we install it on the machine. And then that new device is good to go along with our computer. So the device driver, each hardware components has its own device driver. So device driver is a small program which is written by the hardware manufacturer and supplied with the hardware components. So the process of assigning system resources and installing drivers can be performed with the plug and play now. Now you plug in your tab, for instance, stylus on your computer, right? So if it's a plug and play means your operating system auto detect that new device, check it out in its repository, finds in hard device driver, will install it. If it didn't find the device driver, then it will notify you that you have to install that operating device driver, because it is not a known device, not known device to the computer. So operating system automatically detect the PNP. PNP, most of the devices now are plug and play. Plug and play means you plug the device and it will detect by the operating system and it starts working. This is the basic definition of plug and play device. So the operating system then configures the device and updates the registry, which is what is the registry? You know, what is the computer's hardware and software status? That's all stored in a database. Registry is a computer's database, right? Like it maintains all the resource information what this computer has, right? So what type of what softwares are installed in so under the 5 different keys, right? So you can manually edit the registry as well, but the registry is automatically updated as there is any changes happens inside the system. Like you install a new software, you install a game, you install new application software, you perform some update on the software, right? So that's going to be would update your registry as well, right? So registry is basically a database that contains all the information about the computers. So registry contains the information about applications, remember? So there is an application key, a software key, right? Registry maintain information about user. There is user key. Registry maintain about hardware information in network. So you know how to get there, right? So how you access your system registry. So you can type in the command prompt, run cmd, and then you can type in regedit there. And regedit will open up the registry editor, right? Well, registry is until and unless you're not aware of what you need to do or modify explicitly, you are not recommended to make changes, right? No user is supposed to make changes until and unless he or she aware of what exactly? Because if you make changes in the registry, it may stop your computer working, right? Because you made some mistakes there, right? So what is recommended whenever you making a manual update in the registry, make a copy of the registry, a backup of the registry from the registry editor, and then changes you made, and then you can, just in case if those changes doesn't work out, then you can restore your previous version of the registry. Otherwise, you cannot run your computer, you know. Uh, the operating system, other functionality. So how does it controls hardware? It controls, let me summarize this characteristic feature. It controls hardware access by using device driver, correct? And once you install a device driver, it updates the system registry, correct? So it updates the system registry. This is how it controls the hardware access. Um, so it also performs file and folder management. Let me see if one of you had responded. Manage computer resources, right? Yeah, files are the computer resources, right? So files and folder management. So it is the fundamental role or function of the operating system to create a file structure on the hard disk drive to allow a data to be stored. What is the file? Well, file is what? When we say file, and where does it store? What is the file? Anybody can tell me? What do you think? What is the file?
Like collection of data in type or different modes.
Yeah, file is a piece of information, right? A particular information in particular application. So it can be an application file, it can be user data, yes, right? Application file means you run some software, you write some program, or you write some batch files and you store it, and then you run it in the particular application. Um, well, the question is how it is stored on computer, right? You create a file, okay, in an application. How you store, not only store, manage, store, delete. Sometime you need to delete it, right? Restore, secure. All those are things related to when I'm saying files. And how about folders? For files, you understand that's a piece of information, right? Information or data, right? So which is stored in the file. What is the folder? Folder is what? What do you think? What's the folder? Well, just like our office file folder, right? So office file folders have some pages, some similar kind of information, and that similar kind of information is a folder is what is the main purpose of folder? What do you think? What's the function of folder in an operating system in a computer? Nobody have an idea. So have you ever created any folder on your machine? Okay. Jaspal said that he created. Anybody else?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes,
every
ma'am.
okay, everybody I think created folder. Why did you? Okay, so folders function of the folder is to what is the function of the folder?
Store that.
To store the things.
To store, well,
Store
store,
the.
well, file, store the things, files, it is stores in file. To organize the files, right? Function is a folder is to organize the file. Like you created a folder
In
for
an
this
organized manner.
to organize,
Organized folder in an organized manner.
yeah, organize files or subfolder. It can have subfolder as well, right? For instance, in this course, for this course, any of you had created a folder CST
Yes, ma'am.
105,
We
right?
have created like study material separate.
Yeah, so you created like courses under courses, summer courses, for instance, right? So you said, I'm studying in summer courses, summer 21, right? That is your main folder you created, right? On your machine operating system. And under this summer folder, you had created subfolder. Subfolder name is like what courses you're taking. So subfolder has uh, three subfolder, for instance. You created CST 105 and then CST 110. What else? CST, anything else? 102 maybe, right? So, for instance, right? So, what was the purpose when you did those things? What was the purpose? So, because your computer has so many things there, right? So, your personal information, your documents, your application information. So, whenever you need to access your study contents, right? So for this term, for instance, so you directly come to this folder, right? And under this folder, well, you don't shouldn't be mixed up. Sometimes people send me an email, Bushra, I submitted in this folder 102 assignment. It happens many times, you know. You know why? Because I name it assignment one or lab one for both, and I am the same person who did the lab one for CST 102 and CST 110 or something like that. So what happened? You use this lab and you drop it here because of the mismanagement, you know, because you did not create, you forgot to create. Not all of you, I'm just giving you an example. Someone forgot to create uh, a folder, right? So folder helps you to manage the manage the files in subfolders. Those are subfolders. And then under CST or 110 or 1102, you go there. This is my lab one, and then lab1.doc or then lab2.doc and something like that, right? So those are the documents inside your this folder, right? How organized your contents are, you can easily locate any one of them which you are working on, right? So you can think that this is who is managing all those things. This is the operating system, right? That is the operating system which allows you to create folders and subfolders, and you know how to get there. Uh, I think I can take you to that view. Hmm, 1 second. Okay, so for instance, how do you create folder? So you go to
Left
the,
click on the screen, new folder.
yeah, you either go to the folder and a screen and okay, so this is one of the options, right? But there are some other options as well available, which can help you to create the folders and then subfolders and make them folders hidden. And hidden means sometimes you don't like that it appears every times when you're working on. So if anybody else is looking at your computer, like my computer is a public kind of computer, right? So everybody is looking on my computer. So I didn't make anything hidden there. Well, I'm teaching those things, but explicitly. But most of my folders are like visible, and you can look at it when I explore any folder, right? A file is basically, well, properties you can change on any folder. You create a folder, and then you right click that folder, and then you can change the property of the folder. Also from the menu, you can change the property of the folder, like make it hidden or make it like uh, assign some permission to the users. You can manage it, right? So file is a block of related data that is given a single name and treated as a single unit. Uh, so given name, like a given name and treated as a single unit. What is a given name, right? File, like you assign a file name like this, right? And then sometimes your teacher asks you when you create your report, you may append your name, right? Your name. So this is, and then the type of application with this extension. It has a file has an extension. Extension is basically tells the user what kind of application can be used to open the file. And this is the actual name of the file, right? So you can rename that file, or that's another thing. And this is the how long this file name would be, right? That's important. Well, different operating. I'm sorry. Uh, maybe I tried to open something. Okay, is that okay now? Uh, Assignment one and assignment. Good question. Yes, that's a good question. I come to it, right? Um, Most probably, before I give you the assignment, another next assignment, right? uh, okay, you agreed upon it, right? All right. So here, yes, what we're talking about, what is the uh, length of this name, file name? That's important. This is managed by the operating system. Okay, can I have some special character in my file name, right? Can I have spaces in between, like lab one, my name, and then lab one and the name of the lab one, like you working, for instance, in 102 or Linux or something like that, some commands you practice there, and you put that command as well, and then you put the extension and you set that dot docs, right? So this is those are the spaces, right? And you may put the underscore between them, right? So this is before earlier, and then earlier version of the operating systems. If you go back to the earlier older versions, right, 95 or something. So there was some restrictions under the file name. Now the how long the file name would be, that is also managed by the operating system. What is the format of the file name, that is managed by the file system as well. So file itself is a block of related data that is given a single name, right? Single name, and treated as a single unit. So this everything related to this lab one, you put it in one document, right? And you save it. Now that's a single piece of information. Similar things or everything related to that's carry the related info. When you put in a one file, it means that is the related information. A single can, well, this is you think, right? Not the computer thing. You can put anything there, whether it is related or not related. Computer doesn't know that whether this info contents inside that document is related or irrelevant. It is you who thinks that that this is the related information and should be treated as a single unit. So program and data files are grouped together in a directory. You group them, and the files and directories are organized for easy retrieval and use. You organize like this. How simple is go to this folder, get your stuff there. This folder, get your stuff there, right? And this folder, get your stuff there. It's easier rather than looking around in your USB, in your external hard drive, in your email, where is my contents are, right? So directories can be kept inside other directories, and these nested directories are referred as subdirectories. So this is the main directory you created on your computer, hard drive or USB, wherever, or on Google's. And those three are subdirectories. Or subfolders, sometimes we say, it's the same thing. So another functionality, provide user, someone said, establish user interface, manage resources, right? And establish user interface. How does it establish user interface? User interface means how the user is going to communicate with with the computer, right? So enables the user to interact with the software and hardware. So there are two ways to interact with the machine. One is the CLI. Every operating system has those options. Well, whichever you are working with, in general, right? In general. So whether you're working with Unix, Apple, or Windows, they give you an option. CLI or command line interface, and graphical user interface. So command line interface, which allows you to type in the commands. Everything you should explicitly type in, like I think I'll address this one later. Let me give you a quick example if I can. If I go to run CMDs, I can go to the command line interface in Windows by typing CMD there. And this is a command line interface you see here. Windows system cmd command.exe. There was an older system, first operating system, MS-DOS, Microsoft MS-DOS, disk operating system. That's a utility coming from there, right? Originated from there. uh, and it is still a part of the embedded part of the Windows operating system as they moved on from the earliest, the oldest operating system was like this, right? It was the oldest operating system. You can think of the first operating system like appears like this. Well, you need to make a card directory, you need to install in software, you need to save something. There is no click option. All you need to do, you need to type in there. For instance, you need to see what I have it there, like you're creating folders or something, or you had created earlier. So you issue some commands, or if you're working on Unix, you write down ls command, list command. So list give you the what contents you have it in the current folders. So here the Windows, you said, okay, give me the directory, and you type in the dir command. So it's give you all the contents what you have it there in your current folder, not for everything. It gives you the contents for the current folder. Now there you can do further like create and files and uh, folders as you working in another operating system. So you can issue the commands here, make directory, create directory, or files and delete files. All everything what you can do with right click or left click or some other clicks on your folders. So you go there and you click, and then you performs all the file functionality there, open, edit, in new folders, etc., right? So you can change the property of the folders, and you get to their security sharing and versions, customization, generic. So you advance, and then you can change the functionality, the hidden or read only, something like the attributes. Those all are under one and after another click. So the same functionality which you perform, this is what we call, the one I showed you, that is what we call a graphical user interface, right? So graphical user, this is the graphical user interface, which help me to interact with my computer. So I don't need to remember any command, right? In graphical user interface, I don't need no command, explicit command required. No explicit command is required. All you need to do, you go to a window icon and you click on that window icon, and it performs that functionality, right? But in command line interface, you have to type the command, which is executable command, right? And then a specific command. I think I provide link. Okay, I'll post it if I didn't do that. The link, basic command line utilities which we can use inside the Windows, right? So those are the two ways to the interfaces, the main interfaces. Those are the two interfaces provided by the operating system to interact with your machine. So those three fundamental functions: controls hardware, manage files and folders, provide user interface, and manage applications. How does it manage? I think one of you have told here. Uh, manage. Yes, someone told me here, right? Executes and some typical wording. Execute, provide services, applications, software. Better word we can say manage applications. Let's make life easier, right? Are you guys following along? Hopefully.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. So Uh, what? How does it manage applications? Applications means well, any applications. For instance, here you're working with which application with me, like Oracle, right? This is the applications you're working with me, right? So in other course, well, that's another thing, but that's an application, right? So you have plenty of other applications which you're working in academic environment or for your personal use. So how the operating system manage application? It basically um ensures that the correct resources are allocated to all applications. You know, every applications you already had installed. A computer comes, you purchase a computer basically as a user. A user purchase a computer, comes up with a bunch of application installs in. Well, the Windows has some built-in application, plenty of built-in application. On the top of it, you install your user-defined applications as you required. So when you're installing a new application, like someone told you to install Oracle virtual machine on your computer, right? So what you were asked to check first, resource allocations, right? So every application says, hey, I need this much memory, right? So, and this much hard disk space, right? So check it out. If you have the available memory and hard disk space, then I can be sit on your computer, otherwise not. So the operating system locate in application and loads it into the RAM. So it's a well, operating system, check it out. When you click on Oracle machine folder, for instance, on your desktop, you had it. So it basically locate where its executable file is, and operating system locate not only locate that executable file, well, also load that file inside the memory. Okay? It has to be good. All applications should be loaded in the memory. Otherwise, CPU cannot access them. That's the CPU will access your application, right? So from where the CPU get this information, it cannot jump directly on your desktop, right? So it can read the RAM contents only. It read the information from memory. So who provide the CPU information inside the memory? Well, you have some game applications, you have some software applications, you have something else, right? Whatever. So what it is, those applications have to be loaded, right, inside the memory, because processor can communicate, processor run your application. That's the machine, right, who runs your application. The job of operating system is just bring that contents to CPU. Hey, my master, this is something. Here it is. So you can work on it, right? So the operating system only bring that information to CPU to be executed. How does it bring this information to CPU? By loading and locating and loading that application inside the memory, and then applications and software programs like word processor, database, spreadsheets, your game, your favorite loving game, in movies, etc., etc., right? All those things. Where does it go? You see on your desktop, you're enjoying it, you're using it, right? But they all should be loaded to memory first. And who is responsible to do that? How does it come inside the memory? Well, that is the operating system which fetches or loaded that information inside the memory. And then operating system ensures that each application has adequate system resource as well, right? Application programming interface, sometimes we refer this APIs. APIs is a set of guidelines used by programmers to ensure that the application they are developing is compatible with the operating system, like Windows APIs, Java, DirectX, OpenGL. Those are the APIs. Those are related to the programmers. So who are creating those applications are softwares, right? Created by the programmers, computer programmers, right? You create your own applications, you make it public, right? So that is when you're writing an application. So first thing you need to check, my application is going, for instance, you're writing an application for Android cell phones, right? So mobile applications. So you check it whether it's going to be compatible with the Android version or not. So APIs, so you provide then APIs, which is a set of guidelines used by the programmers, and it ensures that the applications you're developing is compatible with an operating systems. So OpenGL is a cross-platform standard specification for media graphics. DirectX is a collection of APIs that's related to the multimedia task for Microsoft. Windows APIs allows applications from older versions of Windows to operate on the newer versions. For instance, any of the word processors application, like you created a Word document in an older version of Microsoft Word or some older version of a spreadsheet, so you can still open it in a new application. Sometimes it gives you an error message, cannot be opened because of the version not compatible, but Windows API will help you to open that older version inside the newer versions. So Java, you might have the Java plugin. Java API is related to the development of Java. Java is a programming language, right? Anybody works with the Java? Java is a programming, C-like programming language.
No, ma'am.
Okay, no worries. That's basically operating system written in a programming language, right? So Java APIs, sometimes you might get an error when you're exploring, when you're trying to open some game on your Explorer, or a video movie, trying to watch some movie on your Explorer, right? Using your Explorer, a Java error. Does anybody familiar with the Java error, right? So Java error is basically like maybe your API is not installed or not upgraded on your Explorer. That's a Java plugin. Every Explorer has it. So it helps you to open any Java-based application. Let me give you some little bit more terminal. Those are the functionalities, basic functionalities performed by the operating system, controlling hardware access, managing folders, provide user interface, and manage applications, right? That's the main task. Remember those four main tasks. Well, you gave me your thoughts. That's also good. So that's just organized functionality. So it covers all what you said, right? What you said, most of them functionalities. Terms, some more terms. Let me give you the thought related to the operating system. What it is? I don't understand. What is the meaning? Yes. Someone can interpret this text message. I think everybody has received it, right? First, give me the meaning of this message, then I'll continue. Yes, Harjeet, what you're trying to say? Can you tell us? In a language which is also understandable by me, because you're using my class platform in a language which I don't understand. Are you there? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Harjeet
Yes,
Singh.
ma'am.
Harjeet Singh, can you interpret what you said here? Yes, someone can tell me what is the meaning of this comment. Well, I
Ma'am,
don't
Harjeet
understand.
Singh is not in our class.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
How did? Interesting. How did he get there then? That's terrible. Oops, he disappeared. See? They cannot face me, right? They just come in and say something stupid and then disappeared. That's their problem. Anyways, I'll let the management know. Well, they know, I think so. Is this happens to other classes?
No, ma'am.
So they love to come my class and say something stupid, right? I don't know. Uh, okay, doesn't happen because they know I don't understand the language. You know, that's this. Anyways, I appreciate if someone can translate it for me, so I can interpret it to the management and ask their help. Uh, okay. They don't want to learn, or they don't let the other people to learn. That's their problem, is, you know. I don't know why. Okay, let's do something positive. Okay, let's come back to the terms. What are the main terms affiliated with the operating system? How did he get there? I'm just wondering. Uh, because I don't remember all of you by your name, unfortunately, because that's a big class. Um, okay. Okay, maybe he's still there. What is this? 1 second, let me stop my screen share. I got a user which is not familiar to me. Can you rename yourself, this user? Can you see on my screen? Under the user list, there is a user. I don't know this name. So as I'm not familiar with this name. So what I can do, I just have put him or her in the waiting room. So until he come back with the proper ID, then I'll allow her to come into my class. Anybody else there? Can you guys help me? Anybody else in this classroom who's not belonging to this class? So you look at the list, any of you, because I just had placed one person in the waiting room. Do you know that person? Because I'm not familiar with the username.
No, ma'am.
Okay, I think he's the same one who's just uh, trying to see what we are doing in this class under some hidden name. Anyways, so some terms are related to the operating systems. All devices requires an operating systems before you can operate, whether it is your cell phone, your tablet, even the smartwatches, right? So every now and every, like your car, even like, car has its own operating system now, because car has some smart functionalities, and they come up with operating system, and it runs and give you some messages on the window, on the small screen of your car, right? So the operating system, basically in term of computers, we are focusing in computers operating system. It boosts the computer. Boost means operating system. That's a very common term. Operating system is boosting the computer and manage the file. Boosting means loading basic input BIOS, right? Basic input output system from CMOS to memory, and from CMOS, no, not from CMOS to memory. It basically it loads the operating system. Boosting means loading the important files, important operating files from of the operating system inside the memory. So the following the terms which we often used when describing the operating system. Like multi-users, right? Multi-users, multitask, multi-processing, multi-threading. Um, Multi-users means more than one users can manage the computer usage, right? So two or more users have individual accounts. I think one of you have told us in this setting. Uh, User interface, maintain. Okay, maybe you missed it out. Anyways, so multi-user means well, how many users you have it on your Windows machine, for instance? How many users you have on your Windows machine? You are the only user on your computer, or you're working with your friend or your sibling or your roommate, right? Or your buddy or computers, right? So if it is your buddy computers, then he might have his own accounts, right, on that machine. So that is a user one, who may be the admin on that machine, right? And then that admin has created some other user's account. So user two and user three, and then a user guest. Well, when you have those options, what is the advantage of having multi-user environment? You know, or what do you think? What is the advantage of any of you have more than one user account on your computer? Any of you, other than the guest account, right? Guest is the default account on every machine. Any of you have an more than one user account on your computer?
No, ma'am.
So everyone has just one single account. Like, did you log into your computer? Like I put some password on my computer, and I can log into my computer, and I can let the other people to log in my computer with some different privileges, right? Some different privileges means they cannot just look at everything on my computer, or cannot access everything on my computer. They have lower privileges, right? So being an admin, you have the full command, and you allow the other user, like your friend or your visitor, comes to your home, right, and ask you to can I borrow your computer to access something? What you gonna say? No, not really. You cannot say no, because it's not, you don't like to say, right? Excuse me. uh, what do you do? You create other user accounts for they can log in. You give the username and accounts. Okay, you can use my computer and use this username and accounts and go to the Explorer and check your mail and something like that. So that is the multi-user account managed by the operating systems. Multitasking is also managed by the operating system. It's multitasking means the computer is capable of operating multiple application at the same times. You might be you are doing the same thing what I'm doing right now. Like you can see at the bottom of my PowerPoint, there are multiple applications are running, right? So multiple applications are running on my computer, CMD, some Word files, some PPT, some Explorer, etc., etc. So that is, and then there are some tray applications which are running by default all the time. I run my computer, right? So multitasking is a computer is capable of operating multiple application at the same times. Like sometimes we refer the term for some people's like he's a multitasker, she's a multitasker. You know, multitasker means you have task one here. Sometimes people do the multitasking during the class as well. Okay, I'm listening lecture, I'm following along with my family members, you know, and I'm going to sometimes kitchen as well, right? You know, so you do one task in the virtual class here. Well, virtual class setup is about to be changed maybe from fall terms, right? Maybe we are moving on campus classes. So virtual, like one task you're performing here, another task you're performing here, and third task is very favorite one inside the kitchen, right? So that is the third task. Multitasking means so you can you manage three things? Well, it is really hard for a human being because you may lose the focus when you are switching from one task to another task. But operating system can manage it. So it runs one task to some extent and it switches to the another task and switches to the third task. Basically, it runs the small threads of each task, right? It is runs the small thread of each task. Threads are basically the small piece of applications and they are run and you can go into the performance manager by using control alt alt key combinations and see the different applications you would see there are plenty of applications running. uh, the multi-processing, the operating system, you should be aware of those terminology. Multi-user, multitasking, multi-processing. The operating system can support two or more CPUs, right? So two or more CPUs. That's I think we discussed under our hardware session, which we had concluded yesterday. It was pretty good, right? So most of you did very good job. I think I have whole class 95% peoples or 97% peoples who has scored to A or A plus or A minus, right? So, well, some people's may have a little lower grade, but that's fine. They can manage it, improve it in their other course activity. So multiprocessing supports like CPU has multiprocessor, you know, in one package, as we discussed in our hardware session. One core has core 1 and core 2 and core 3, and they all come in one package and say this is your CPU, right? But it's not a single CPU. It's a core 5. Core 5 means like you have 5 cores processors. The cores means the levels, the layers of the processors. So, and multi-threading is a program that can be broken into small parts, and that is loaded as needed by the operating system. Multi-threading allows different part of the program to run at the same time, right? As I mentioned earlier, like applications are divided into threads. Threads is a thread. You can think like in a small thread like this, right? As a small thread is basically a small chunk of an application. And so one chunk of an application, another small thread of applications. So the operating system, like I said, task A and task B and task C, right? So operating system manage to task means this is the one task, another task, another. They belongs to different applications, right? So operating system quickly switches from one thread to another thread, another thread, another thread. So this is how it managed the multitask environment. Make sense? Question if you have.
No, ma'am.
Well, I see Harjot is there. Harjot?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Harjot. Uh, I got a message under your name. Can you interpret?
No, ma'am, it was not mine.
Harjeet. This is Harjeet. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yes, ma'am.
It's
It's
confusing,
okay.
right? Can you guys help me to find figure out what those guys are? And so we can help them further. We can make them to show. We can help them to by exhibiting some positive attitude. Well, my job is not just to teach you technical stuff. I help you to show up the positive attitude. Is that correct? Correct? Not right? So technical information is we need to learn that we cannot learn if we don't have a positive attitude, right? That's important. So if you guys can help me to figure out who those guys are, so we can help with the together, to maybe they need our assistance. They think they cannot do anything positive, but we can help them. If you can help me what to locate, or. Well, I can tell the IT peoples they can figure it out, but that's gonna be they may come in trouble then, right? Might be expelled from the college or something like that. Uh, there are some other ways we can help them without giving them a big punishment. Anyways, okay. So, question if you have. So you understand those terminologies, right? So can you interpret in your words what is a multi-user, multitasker? I'm just leaving like this, right? Multi-processor and multi-thread. Yes. Can you tell me in your words, in your understanding, what do you understand with multi-users, multitasker, multi-processor and multi-thread? Yes, I want. I like you to contribute with those terminologies you just familiar with, or you already was familiar with. In either case, yes. Can you provide me your input about those terminologies? No idea, really? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I just want to make sure that you guys understand up to here. Those terminologies: multi-user, multitasking, multi-process, and multi-thread.
Yes, ma'am.
Just one after, not one person like just was gonna say, I'm gonna tell everyone everything. And that's good. But I want most of you contribute, right? Yes. Who can tell us about multi-user? What do you understand by with multi-user terminology? It's difficult? Really? I don't think so. No idea. Okay, type it in the chat box if you don't like to speak up.
Ma'am, which
Type.
two or more simultaneously users.
Okay. Anybody else? I want everyone, like every three peoples will have a discussion, make a group and have it discuss. Multi-user tasking, multitasking, multi-processing, and multi-threading. Yes. If you were following along, right? You have to prove me that you were there and you were following along, then you should be able to answer those things. Think about it. I think nobody was there when I explained those terminologies. Is that correct?
No, ma'am. Very.
You following, right? Thank you. So just in your thought, not should be super duper perfect, right? It's not an exam. Just whatever you think, multi-user, multitask, or processor, any one of the terminologies you feel comfortable to tell. Well, I cannot proceed then, right? Until I get your feedback. Did you say something in the chat box? Really? I don't think so. Well, can you interpret this message for me, please? What does it mean? Type in English or just speak up. I really need to know the meaning of this.
Unlike it's only told that we can also find this data from Google
Mm-hmm.
and from the books.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, ma'am. Like you just told that we can find this data from Google and books too.
That's true.
Yeah, that's it. And there is nothing like uneven written in it.
Okay. That's not something I provide those information and detail.
Yeah,
That's true. But when you go to the Google randomly, you're gonna get lost.
ma'am, he just used the word Ashirvad like it's like he's asking for the blessings from you.
Oh, he's asking. Maybe he's mine. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just asking blessings. He used word Ashirvad. Ashirvad is blessings. Just asking for blessings from your side.
Okay. Awesome. So better try typing in a language so I understand it. Anyways, so maybe he's not in the class, and he is willing to learn from me. Anyways, the thing is, yeah, those, but in online courses, the people start thinking that we can pass the exam without learning because Google is there. You know, Google is a huge sea, right? So in order to dive in and then extract the correct information, all the information on Google is not correct. Do you know that? Right? Any layman can make any piece of information and can leave it on the YouTube or anywhere else, right? On the Google. But all the information on Google is not authenticated. One thing is. And you need to be technical also in order to get the information, right information from the Google. For instance, I go to if you go to iLearn page, right? If you go to iLearn, you would find that I had provide Google Books are also there, correct? Google Books, maybe you try finding this book on Google, but the Google does not provide the entire book like this course textbook, right? So they don't provide the entire book, right? They gives you some chunk of the books like one paragraph, one page or 2 pages or one entire chapter like I posted here on D2L. Because that was because um, you know um, publisher has their concern that they cannot just make it. Can you see my screen? Mm, all right. So if you go there, uh, oops. Uh, under the contents, right? So like I provide this link, right? So this is from the textbook. That is from the textbook, right? So that is your textbook, and I myself provide you the links from the Google, but because
Yes.
I want to save your time and efforts when you need to refer the contents I'm explaining you in class. But when you look at those content after the class discussion, so you don't need to spend several hours to swallow the or digest the information, because you already familiar with those terminologies, you have a thought. That's for your reference. What if you need to revive those things, so where else you can look for, right, outside the classroom. So that's a link, right? So there is a, well, that's but we cannot just totally rely on Google. That's the thing, right? So because there is a correct information and wrong information as well. So all you need to better uh, refer the references I'm giving you. That's gonna save your time and efforts. Um like I gave you some demonstrative video links here. Also in the class, I showed you some of the videos. So this is uh, beep codes, for instance. This is from Intel manufacturer. That's an authenticated link. That's not someone else like which we don't trust. So this is the link from your manufacturer. So it provides, every manufacturer has their own beep codes, right? Who knows that? Manufacturers knows those beep codes because he has designed a system in a way that it can generate some beeps if it works on something abrupt or something, you know. So those are the information coming from manufacturer. How do we reach to manufacturer? Well, that's a technology error. We go to their website and we go to their website and ask for some particular information like beef course you're looking for or any other processor information, any other utility you're looking for. Well, you don't have to spend like too much time with Googling. Please don't do that, right? Because it will end up frustration. Online learning means that's a wrong perception. Online learning means Googling, right? So people think, well, I can make a good score if I can quickly Google the contents, you know. Well, that's not really true 100%. Well, because we're not using any big kind of restrictions, but I think you guys studied when you score well in my course. Is that correct? Right? Correct? Say yes or no. Everybody's quiet now. What happened?
Ma'am, pardon, can you please repeat?
Oh, you didn't get it? Okay. Let's leave it then. Well, I didn't get any input about those terminologies we just discussed. Um, any input, any raw thought, what do you understand? Well, I'm asking some question. No one is responding. What do you understand? Multitask, multiprocessor, multi-thread. Think about it and give me your input.
Ma'am, multitasking, performing multitask at a single time.
Can run different application at the same time. Yes. Okay. How about multiprocessing? Anybody else? Multiprocessing. That's functionality of operating system.
In one operating system, there must be one or two CPUs.
Multiprocessing. Very good, Tushar. It means there is no processor which has only one core. Most processor has at least two core, right? Even your cell phone, if you check your cell phone processor, you would find there are more than two cores, right? Quad core or triple core, something like that, or hexa-core. Okay, good. How about multi-thread?
It
Anybody else?
allows different
Yes.
parts of a program to run.
Did you get what she said? Anybody else can repeat? Maybe she has a problem with this.
Ma'am, it allows different parts of a program to be run at the same time.
Different parts, and thread are the small piece of application, right?
Yes,
So a
ma'am.
small piece of applications which can be run same time. Very good. So which can be run same time. So multi-thread means different program, basically one big program right? So it has that's huge. It can processor is just not just running that program like Microsoft Word because it's a big program, right? It is split the programs into threads, right? And those threads run um, in in different intervals of time. So that is what we call multi-threading. Okay. How about I think we address all of them. Okay. All right. Good. So now I have a perception that you guys understand what we talk about, right? So if you have question, you can ask at this point.
No, ma'am.
All clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So let's get to the attendance. Amandeep Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Amanveer Singh,
Present, ma'am.
Arjun,
Present, ma'am.
Arshdeep Singh, Gurinder Singh, Gurleen Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Gurmanjot Singh,
Present, ma'am.
Harmeet Singh,
Present, ma'am.
Jaspal Singh, Jatanpreet Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Jobanpreet Singh,
Yes, ma'am.
Jobanpreet Singh number 2.
Present, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Karanveer Singh.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Kulvinder Singh,
Present, ma'am.
Lovepreet Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Lovepreet Singh,
Present, ma'am.
Manisha, Manisha, Manjot Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
okay.
Manjot Kaur, present, ma'am.
Okay. Mahakdeep Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Muskan,
Present, ma'am.
Neha,
Present, ma'am.
Parminder Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Rinkaljot Singh,
Present, ma'am.
Rajvinder Singh,
Present, ma'am. Present, ma'am.
okay. Robinpreet Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Samarjit Singh,
Present, ma'am.
Sukhmanpreet Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Sukhpreet Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Sumanpreet Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Vanshika,
Present, ma'am.
Bhavesh Chopra,
Present, ma'am.
Manvir Singh,